Hey everyone, Happy New Year to you all, and so excited what this year will bring not only for me, but for all of you too. For me, this year will be a major game changer and everything's going to align in perfect unity. This journey entry is going to hit home with us all, and I am excited to share this with you. I'm going to title this one as Overcoming Obstacles. I want to share with you 3 different examples of overcoming obstacles that are very personal to me and my family. Let's start with my mom. My mom was diagnosed with breast cancer around 15 years ago. This diagnosis was caught early enough that it wasn't a major threat. However, it had reached her lymph nodes, and this caused her to have chemo treatments. Now, she was working a full-time job and went through chemo treatments on Friday nights so she could recover by Monday morning. After completing these treatments, the diagnosis were that she was in remission, so she'd beat cancer. However, 5 years later, she was told the cancer had come back, and this time she had a large mass in her breast. This time she had to have a double vasectomy of both breasts and another round of chemo, and this time radiation. Both were really hard on my mom. However, she again overcame the process and was told again she was in remission. Beat cancer twice now. Talk about a fighter. Another 5 years later, which was about 2 years ago, she was told her cancer had spread to her bones and that it was pretty aggressive. I am told that bone cancer is much harder to fight, especially how aggressive it was throughout her bones. Of course, this came with a lot of pain. But not giving up, my mom kept working with her doctor, and they were able to get the pain manageable and able to stop the cancer from spreading. Then, a week ago, my mom was told that the cancer was spreading again, and there is one more thing they're going to try. Can you start to see a pattern here? How many of us would have the fight in us to keep going? Mom, when you watch this, please know this is for you right now. You are a fighter, and you're an inspiration to me, and you have taught me to never, ever give up. I love you. I just told my mom after getting the latest news that she's going to fight this at least one more time. And I told her I will buy her a first-class ticket to Tokyo to see me swim in 3.5 years from now. Growing up, my mom always believed in me that I would make it to the Olympics. And she's a major part of my renewed passion to accomplish this at 47 years old. Mom, I can already picture you in the stands cheering me on with tears of joy. Let's do this. Okay, on to my dad. Also around 15 years ago, I had my family members ask me if I thought my dad was showing signs of Alzheimer's. At this point, my dad was still my dad in many ways. But he did seem to be a little bit more forgetful. At the time, I kind of just chalked it up to that he was just getting older, and he kind of always had a selective attention. Selective hearing, selective attention. However, as the years went by, I could see more and more signs that he may have Alzheimer's. One area that was noticeable was in his real estate business. I could see something that he had been doing for 40 years become extremely hard for him. Real estate was becoming more and more digital, and I remember back when my dad started in real estate, he could fill out a contract on a 3x5 card. Family kept telling me more and more that they started seeing more and more signs. Around 8 years ago, I decided to get my dad to a neurologist to get him checked out. After the doctor completed several tests on my dad, his professional opinion is that my dad was in early stage Alzheimer's. Of course, this was devastating news for not only my dad, but for my entire family. My dad had been at the top 1% of all real estate agents in the United States for 14 years of those 40 years. Those who knew my dad before Alzheimer's knew how much he loved to be social. So year by year went by, and to the overwhelming credit to my wife, we have been able to care for my dad. However, the last couple of years have been very hard for us, especially for my wife. As I am creating this video, my dad can hardly speak anymore and usually has to be helped to be dressed, cooked for, and helped with basic tasks. You may be wondering how this one is overcoming obstacles. Well, again, if you knew my dad and how important it was for him to be able to talk to people and to be social, you would be amazed he hasn't just given up. Through all the embarrassing moments or the struggles of simple tasks like turning on the TV, my dad, I have always known, is still in there. And at times, he can still crack a joke. Again, I see a fighter in my dad, and I am proud to be his son. I love you, Dad. It's unlikely that my dad will be able to make the trip to Tokyo, but his spirit will always be inside me. Last but not least, I'm going to talk about several times I have overcome obstacles throughout my life. My first grade teacher told my parents I wouldn't make it to high school. Then, making it to high school, I had a teacher tell me I wouldn't graduate, let alone go to college. After graduating high school, I went to Colorado State University, followed by a potential scholarship to swim for the University of Tampa. After getting into a motorcycle accident, I gave up on my dream of being a champion swimmer, and I came back to CSU for a year and a half. Then, finding a passion in aviation, I transferred to Metro of Denver to further explore a career in aviation. Every time I have been told that I can't accomplish something, I have persevered. Then, in my mid-20s, a family member told me I would never achieve anything in my life, that I would never amount to anything. Shortly after being told this, I started a 12-year career in the golf course industry, and I climbed the ladder from the bottom all the way up to assistant superintendent. Then, I was blessed to meet and marry my beautiful, supportive wife, and we now have 2 amazing children. Plus, I will win 4 gold medals at the next Summer Games. And I will create an electric airplane that will regenerate its own power. Basically, becoming the Elon Musk of aviation. I say all this not to be patted on the back, but you can see how I overcame obstacles all my life. I am blessed that I didn't allow any of these negative programs to set in, and I never gave up. Let me end this with a quote. One who gains strength by overcoming obstacles possesses the only strength which can overcome adversity. And that's by Albert Schweitzer. Okay, on to results. This past week I felt amazing in the pool. Still nothing groundbreaking, but I can swim longer and a little faster. This coming week I will be working with some energy exercises prior to working out in the pool. I know this will create huge gains in my swimming. I will share more about this next week. I have dropped about 5 pounds this past week, and I'm getting so close to start losing that stubborn belly fat. My wife and I are still working out with weights, and I feel stronger each week. In closing, think about times in your life when you overcame an obstacle. Then visualize how this made you feel, and revisit this memory and celebrate your achievement. Let's start this year out with a bang and make 2017 your best year ever. Until next week, remember, always be in the wow.